Favorite park. It's pretty cool. It's big. Usually they have a porta potty over there, which, one of those things you probably don't ever think of about being homeless is where do you do your business? Yeah, it doesn't wait for you, that's for sure. Seems like during the winter, though, they remove the toilets out here. So you gotta find another park with bathroom you can use. It's kind of another one of those nice perks of being employed is you have access to a bathroom for most of the day. Love it out here. Kind of makes me wonder, why the homeless seem to be such a big problem, especially in a state like Oregon. Like, there's no alternative really for, like in the old days, you could basically go find, there's a bunch of federal land and they basically just give it to you. And I guess maybe there's still that option somewhere, but it's hard to find. It's, buried under, because there's so many programs that promise this or that, and all their application processes are convoluted with fees and things attached that, I get it, whatever. But if you had a more generic option, I don't know if a lot of people kind of grasp that as, not everybody is as put together as you. And not a lot of people are as educated. Some people are illiterate, or at the very least have a very poor grasp of the English language. So when you throw a legal document in front of them, or, a how to apply for federal grants for land and all that stuff, it's so beyond some people. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people. I went through business law and I did pretty good, but it gives you an appreciation for just how insane the laws are, that no normal person, no average person can have a firm grasp of their local, state, and federal laws. There are just too many, and they all reference each other and previous court cases, and again, they can vary by demographic. So God forbid you move a county over, you suddenly don't know any of the county law. And do average people really have the time to, keep up on changes in the local county law? Not especially if you're, you don't have access to, I do. I could look up Google News and all that stuff, and that's where I can do a little bit of my own research, but there are people that don't have that option, or they just don't even understand it. So if you had a system that was a little bit, forgiving in that sense. Not all of us can afford an attorney or, legal fees, consultation fees, just so somebody can help us navigate what to us is just like a giant veil of obscure bullcrap. Hey, that's another one I learned with business, the law 101, was that you could argue multiple ways in the law. And that's just something that, again, you get guys that are illiterate, grew up on the streets, all they know is survival. You plop them in front of a judge, a guy with 26, 27 years of legal experience and knowledge of past court cases and this and that. You're taking somebody with no knowledge and putting them up against an expert. And I can see why a lot of those guys in court clips just can't understand, like, how did I get 27 years? Well, you don't know that we go off this flow chart that, if you've had a prior and that prior was this, or if this prior was of that degree, then it automatically makes your second sentence a federal offense, and this and that and this. So these guys are just kind of left with the sense that the system cheated them. Maybe not in the system's eyes, into people able to comprehend the system, but to people who can't, it just feels like you got cheated. They just wanted to throw you away, lock you up. In the homelessness case, it's, throw you out of town, charge you for trespassing just for wanting to sleep in your car in a parking lot. Like, really, I trespassed. Like, I guess. I mean, I think for people that grew up on the streets, of all walks, would much rather have, at some point in their life, the option to basically leave society, to walk away from it and go, it's just not for me. You guys' legal system is way too convoluted. Your economy is completely out of whack. And I just don't want any part of it. Like, we don't have really that option. No matter where you go, you're governed by somebody's laws. And maybe not enforced. That's why I think it would be nice if... See, like, Oregon's got 6.2 some million acres of land. And it doesn't all look like this. Some of it is just barren, unusable. Basically, the only use for it is for cattle grazing. So you need millions of acres for cattle grazing. But we couldn't spare, the size of a township for people that are just completely disinterested in being part of, the coming future of humanity. There's going to be a lot of us, I think, that, we made the mistake of getting degrees that meant nothing. So we're trapped in this debt cycle for the rest of our lives with no hope, really, of owning a home. It's it's not even a bad thing. It's just coming to realize that, like, maybe you're one of the ones that fell through the cracks. And yeah, there's always some, rags to riches bullcrap story you can tell yourself. You can try. That's what we're all doing. It's not like we're, taking it sitting down. But there is that realistic, and I would argue statistically higher chance of just kind of ending up at the bottom of the barrel than, flying up into stardom or riches. Probably not going to happen. It'd be nice if we had just an option. Like, this is... Anybody who settles in this area can basically have, an acre for free. It's not much. And we'll provide power and water. And, like, the rest of it, you guys are going to have to figure out on your own. But this is a place where... And none of that, like, because I know that corporate entities can be basically considered an individual for like legal and tax purposes, which I find to be kind of asinine. But none of that, like where a company comes through and just buys all the acres and sells them back to us at a premium, has their whole cycle of, well, we'll help you get a loan for it so we can also make tons of mortgage payments on, so you can make mortgage payments. We can have a deal with the contractors so that we can get a couple more points of margin out of them. It's like, that's why houses are ridiculously expensive. So yeah, just cheap, crappy land nobody else really wants. It's got water, it's got electricity. So like putting yourself together a shelter and all that's up to you. But one registered U.S. citizen, per, it could even be half an acre lot. Yeah, just a township for people that don't really want to live life like everybody else. That'd be nice. Because, again, that's one of those, build it, they'll come, we'll figure out our own, ways of dealing with things. Because eventually out of it, you'd spring your own councils, your own enforcement. Medical care is something that, I'm sure if people are really serious about solving the homeless problem, could. So back to that, sorry. Guy on the trail, so I didn't want to look like a crazy person. But yeah, we probably could, at least, because at least the statistics in Oregon are somewhere along the lines of 20,000 like homeless that have registered at a shelter. But I guarantee you the number of actual homeless is magnitudes. Just 4 or 5 times easily 20,000. It's 100,000 people. It's a whole city of people that, for one reason or another, just kind of got left behind, or down on their luck, or just can't adapt, Maybe if they had some option like that, like, well, there's this new city that's coming together, and you'll be just given, it'll be your land, so you need to take care of it. It's not going to be the greatest land in all the U.S., but, if you guys can make something of it, like, here's a chance to restart. Yeah. I feel like we need, I was like, what? We had 530 or $580 million spent on the homeless crisis in Oregon last year. It's like up 70%. $500 million to solve homelessness, and there's probably only 20 to 100,000 of us, arguably. Use that $500 million to just give us a small plot of land out of the way of your, beautiful cities and your, wonderful businesses and stuff that you don't want tainted with our presence. Give us a piece of land way out in the middle of nowhere. It's ours. We don't have to make payments on it. It's got water and electricity. I guarantee you it'd cost you less than $530 million. It's ridiculous. It's good God. That is so much money that if you spent that on giving people hope instead of just giving them aid while lining your pockets with administrative costs, you probably could help people, let's be honest.